The first time my 6-year-old twins refused to eat at my mother-in-law's house, I brushed it off as typical kid behavior. Emma and Ethan had always been particular about their food, preferring their mac and cheese a specific shade of orange and their sandwiches cut into precise triangles. But something about their reaction that Sunday was different. "Mommy, the chicken tastes weird," Emma whispered, pushing her plate away with trembling hands. Ethan hadn't even touched his food, his fork hovering above the perfectly arranged roast chicken and vegetables. "Just a few bites," I coaxed, feeling Patricia's sharp eyes on me from across the dinner table. My mother-in-law had spent 3 hours preparing the meal, as she had reminded us twice already. Grandma worked very hard on this. "But it smells funny," Ethan insisted, his voice barely audible. His small shoulders hunched forward, making him look even smaller in the oversized dining chair. "They're just being picky," my husband Marcus sighed, shooting me an apologetic look. "Kids go through phases." Patricia dabbed her lips with her napkin, her perfectly manicured nails gleaming under the chandelier light. "Well, when Marcus was their age, he ate everything I put in front of him. Perhaps if you weren't so permissive with their eating habits at home, Alexandra." I swallowed the sharp retort rising in my throat. After 7 years of marriage, I'd learned that challenging Patricia's parenting wisdom only led to weeks of passive-aggressive texts and tearful calls to Marcus about how I disrespected her. "You're absolutely right," I forced a smile. "We'll work on it." But over the next 3 months, the twins' behavior at Patricia's house only got worse. They refused to eat anything she cooked, even her favorite foods. When she made her special chocolate chip cookies, a recipe she refused to share with me, they wouldn't touch them. At home, they were perfectly normal eaters, happily trying new foods and clearing their plates. "Something's wrong," I told Marcus one night after another disastrous dinner at his mother's. "Have you noticed how they only act this way at Patricia's?" He was brushing his teeth, deliberately avoiding my eyes in the bathroom mirror. "They're manipulating the situation, Alex. Mom thinks we're too soft on them, and maybe she's right. Or maybe we should listen to our children when they tell us something's wrong." The words came out sharper than I intended, echoing off the bathroom tiles. Marcus spat into the sink. "What exactly are you suggesting?" I hesitated. The thoughts I'd been having seemed crazy when said aloud. "I don't know, but Emma had stomach cramps after the last 2 visits and Ethan's been having nightmares." "About dinner at his grandmother's?" Marcus scoffed. "Come on, Alex. This is my mother we're talking about. She raised me, and I turned out fine." "Did you?" I wanted to ask. Instead, I said I'm going to set up a nanny cam. "In my mother's house?" He turned to face me, toothbrush forgotten in his hand. "Absolutely not. That's crossing a line." "Then what do you suggest?" "Because our children are terrified of eating at your mother's, and he won't even consider that something might be wrong." The argument that followed was one of our worst. Marcus accused me of being paranoid, of letting my issues with his mother cloud my judgment. I reminded him of all the times Patricia had undermined my parenting, how she still referred to me as Marcus's second choice after his college girlfriend. "Fine," he finally snapped. "Put up your camera. When it shows nothing, I expect a full apology to my mother." The next day, while Patricia was showing Marcus her new garden layout, I slipped into her kitchen and placed a small camera disguised as a phone charger into an outlet near the counter. It had a perfect view of her kitchen workspace and part of the dining room. That Sunday, Patricia outdid herself. The table was laden with all the twins' favorite foods: crispy chicken tenders, creamy mashed potatoes, fresh rolls still warm from the oven. The smell of vanilla and cinnamon wafted from a pie cooling on the counter. "I made everything just how they like it," Patricia announced, shooting me a triumphant look. "Since you mentioned they haven't been eating well here." The twins still refused to eat. Emma burst into tears when Patricia insisted she tried the mashed potatoes, and Ethan knocked over his water glass trying to move away from his plate. Marcus was furious, sending them both to the living room without dinner while Patricia dabbed at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. "Children need discipline," she sniffed. "In my day." I tuned out her familiar lecture, my mind already on the camera footage waiting to be reviewed. Later that night, after the twins were asleep, I sat in my home office and connected to the camera's feed. For the first hour, everything seemed normal. Patricia moved around her kitchen with practiced efficiency, preparing the meal while humming to herself. But then, just before we arrived, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Patricia opened a small wooden box she kept on top of the refrigerator, a box I'd never noticed before. From it, she removed a small vial and began adding drops of something to specific portions of food. The twins' plates, only their plates. My hands shook as I rewound and replayed the footage. There was no mistake. My mother-in-law was putting something in my children's food. The question was, what? I spent the entire night researching common household substances that could make food taste weird without being immediately noticeable. My screen filled with horrifying possibilities. Cleaning products, medications, essential oils. By morning, my eyes were burning and my hands trembled as I poured my third cup of coffee. "You look terrible," Marcus said, walking into the kitchen. The twins were still asleep upstairs. "Did you stay up all night with that camera footage?" I couldn't look at him. Couldn't find the words to tell my husband that his mother, the woman he trusted implicitly, was poisoning our children. Instead, I opened my laptop and played the video. Marcus watched in silence, his coffee growing cold in his hands. When Patricia pulled out the vial, his face went pale. By the time she finished adding drops to the twins' plates, his hands were shaking so badly he had to set his mug down. This has to be a mistake," he whispered. "Maybe it's sauce. Or vitamins." "Vitamins?" My laugh sounded hysterical, even to my own ears. "Marcus, she's only adding it to the twins' food. Not yours, not mine, just our children's plates. And she's hiding it in that box where no one can see." He slumped into a kitchen chair, looking suddenly older. "What do you want to do?" "I want to call the police." "No." He stood up so quickly his chair scraped against the floor. "We can't. We need to talk to her first. Get an explanation. Maybe there's a reasonable explanation for secretly adding unknown substances to our children's food." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Our twins have been telling us for months that something was wrong. They've been sick, Marcus, having nightmares. And your mother." "Let me handle this," he pleaded. "She's my mother, Alex. Let me talk to her first." Before I could argue, little footsteps thundered down the stairs. Emma and Ethan burst into the kitchen, already arguing about whose turn it was to feed our cat, Luna. "Daddy." Emma stopped short, looking between us. Even at 6, she was frighteningly perceptive. "Why are you crying?" Marcus quickly wiped his eyes. "Just something in my coffee, princess. Who wants pancakes?" But I couldn't play pretend, not anymore. "Kids, we need to talk about Grandma Patricia's house." They both stiffened. Ethan moved closer to his sister, grabbing her hand. The gesture broke my heart. "You believe us now?" he asked in a small voice. "About the funny taste?" "Yes, baby, I believe you. And I'm so sorry I didn't listen sooner." I opened my arms and they ran to me, burrowing close like they used to when they were toddlers. "You're not going back there until we figure this out, I promise." Marcus watched us, his face a mask of pain and confusion. Then he pulled out his phone. "I'm going to her house. Now. I'm coming with you." "No," he said firmly. "Stay with the kids. I'll handle this." He left before I could protest. The twins and I spent the morning making cookies, their way of proving that food could be safe again. I kept checking my phone, but Marcus didn't call or text. 3 hours later, my phone finally buzzed. But it wasn't Marcus. It was Patricia. "Alexandra," her voice was cold as ice. "How dare you spy on me in my own home? Marcus is here crying, accusing me of horrible things. This is all your fault." "My fault?" I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. "What were you putting in their food, Patricia?" "Oh, don't be dramatic. It was just a little something to help them sleep. The poor dears are so hyperactive. I thought if they were calmer at dinner, you'd be less stressed. Really, I was helping you." The world tilted sideways. Sleep medication. She'd been drugging my children to make them calmer at dinner. "You had no right," I hissed. "That's assault. It's child endangerment. What were you using? How much did you give them?" "Just a few drops of my sleep medicine," she said dismissively. "Honestly, Alexandra, you're overreacting. In my day, we gave children all sorts of things to help them behave. A little Benadryl in the bottle, some brandy for teething." I ended the call and dialed 911 with shaking fingers. Within an hour, 2 police officers were taking my statement and reviewing the camera footage. They seemed particularly interested in Patricia's casual admission about the sleep medication. "We'll need to get a sample of whatever she was using," Officer Rodriguez said, making notes. "And the children should be examined at the hospital, just to be safe." "My husband," I started. "We'll send officers to the residence now," her partner assured me. "Mrs. Bennett, what you've discovered here, this isn't a small thing. Your mother-in-law could be facing serious charges." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Police just arrived. Mom's hysterical. Said she was only trying to help. I'm so sorry, Alex. You were right. I'm coming home." I hugged the twins, who were watching cartoons in the living room, blissfully unaware of the chaos unfolding around them. They were safe now. That's what mattered. But as I watched the police car pull away, heading toward Patricia's house, I wondered if our family would ever be the same. The next few weeks passed in a blur of police statements, hospital visits, and family therapy sessions. The toxicology reports confirmed what Patricia had admitted. She'd been adding prescription sleep medication to the twins' food. The doctors assured us there wouldn't be any lasting physical effects. But the emotional damage was another story. Marcus moved between anger and grief like a pendulum. Some days he'd rage about pressing charges. Other days he'd sit in his office, staring at old family photos, trying to understand how his mother could do this. Patricia's arrest made the local news, and his phone filled with messages from shocked relatives and childhood friends. "I keep thinking about my own childhood," he said one night after we put the twins to bed. We were sitting on our back porch, sharing a bottle of wine and watching fireflies dance in the darkness. All those times I felt so tired after dinner at her house. How I'd sleep through car rides home. I reached for his hand. "You think she did this to you too?" "I don't know. Maybe. There's so much I'm questioning now." He took a shaky breath. "The other day, Emma asked if Grandma Patricia put the sleepy medicine in my food when I was little. How do I even answer that?" The twins were processing everything in their own way. They'd started seeing Dr. Torres, a child psychologist who specialized in family trauma. She helped them understand that they'd been right to trust their instincts, that adults sometimes do wrong things, and that none of this was their fault. "Your children are remarkably resilient," she told us during a parent consultation. "But they need to see their parents being strong and united. They need to know you'll always protect them, even from family members." Patricia's trial date was set for spring, but her lawyer reached out about a plea deal. In exchange for pleading guilty to 2 counts of child endangerment, she'd serve 6 months under house arrest followed by 5 years of probation. She'd also have to undergo psychiatric evaluation and treatment. "It's not enough," Marcus said when we discussed it. "She drugged our children, Alex, multiple times. She should go to prison." But I thought about the twins, about them potentially having to testify. Maybe this is better. They won't have to relive it in court, and she'll still face consequences. The day Patricia accepted the plea deal, we took the twins to their favorite pizza place to talk about it. They'd been asking questions about what would happen to their grandmother, and we believed in being honest with them. Age appropriately, of course. Grandma Patricia did something very wrong. Marcus explained, watching their faces carefully. She's going to be punished for it, but she won't go to jail. Instead, she has to stay in her house for a long time and talk to doctors about why she made bad choices. "Will we have to see her?" Ethan asked, his pizza forgotten on his plate. "No, sweetheart," I assured him. "You don't have to see her ever again if you don't want to." Emma twisted her napkin in her small hands. "Is she sorry?" Marcus and I exchanged glances. Patricia's only attempts at apology have been self-serving explanations about how she just wanted to help and how things were different in her day. She seemed more sorry about being caught than about what she'd done to her grandchildren. "Sometimes," I said carefully, "people do bad things and aren't as sorry as they should be, but that doesn't make what they did any less wrong." "Like when Tommy broke my crayon at school and didn't say sorry?" Emma asked. "Something like that," Marcus smiled, but his eyes were wet. "The important thing is that you two were brave. You told us something was wrong, and even though it took us too long to listen, we finally did. I'm so proud of you both." Months passed. The twins started first grade. Patricia served her house arrest, and Marcus's sister, Jennifer, who had initially defended their mother, finally reached out to apologize after reading the full police report. Slowly, our family began to heal. One evening, I found Marcus sitting with the twins in our living room, all three laughing as they looked through an old photo album. Daddy was really little here. Ethan giggled, pointing at a school picture. Yeah, but I bet his food didn't taste funny, Emma said matter-of-factly, and my heart clenched. But Marcus just hugged them closer. No, it probably did. But now we all know better, don't we? We trust our feelings when something seems wrong. And we protect each other, Emma added solemnly. Always, I said from the doorway, and 3 pairs of eyes turned to smile at me. Later that night, after story time and goodnight kisses, I found Marcus in the kitchen making tea. They're going to be okay, aren't they? He asked, handing me a steaming mug. I thought about our twins, their resilience and courage, how they still trusted us despite our initial failure to believe them. I thought about how they learned to speak up when something felt wrong, and how they now knew without doubt that their parents would fight for them. Yes, I said. They're going to be more than okay. They're going to be stronger. And as we stood there in our quiet kitchen, I realized that sometimes the hardest lessons bring families closer together. Not the families we're born into, perhaps, but the families we choose to be.